Aloha, friends and neighbors. Rollin here, Kona astrologer, environmentalist. And I'm going to do show 1073 for you. I'm going to get through the sky mirror because I want to talk about Neptune. I'm clear back here on June 1st, talking about the way reality is for you a month down the line. Ha ha ha. But after doing this for 50 years, you know, when I just dive into where the planets are, and I'm kind of there. So you just had a Neptune station a week ago, and you have had a lot of symptoms of Neptune. Tezcatlipoca. I had a lot to say about it. But let's do the sky mirror first. Let's go through the lightweight stuff. Friday the 23rd, recovering from the 23rd to the 2nd of July. And Friday night at 4:32 p.m. there's a new moon at 3 Cancer. Tends to trine Neptune a bit. 3 Cancer is a cardinal. Cancer is a cardinal water sign. So this is a good planting moon the next 2 weeks after this. And let's see what else. Mars and Venus are still in a wide sextile, 60 degrees, but they're stretching it to 63, 64, 65, and the romance is slowly waning away, so don't be surprised. Neptune stationed a week ago. Oh boy, I had a lot to talk about. A lot of strange things have happened. The toilet valve won't stop dripping. That's Neptune. Spilling little things is Neptune. Anyway, before I go on, Wednesdays on the Big Island, Channel 53 at 5:30. Every Wednesday, 5:30. 53, 5:3, 5:30, Channel 53. It's a half-hour show on the Raven. And there's 3 of them, basically. The history and background, the problem, and then some of the solution and why they're extra special. So I hope you get into it. Now, I'm gonna have them posted on YouTube somehow. What's it like for you? Well, it's a weird time. It's a very strange two-sided coin, because see the trine, sextile. Neptune is taking all sextiles and trines. Oh, Neptune, good. Amazing music. Hey, June 1st is the date that Trump pulled out of global warming. And the U.S. is a stinker. Bad smell, that's the U.S. And I feel like I've been betrayed. I spent half my lifetime educating people about this stuff and fighting the whole thing. And I got credentials and I took the jobs and I was on the front line. And this man, he's going to undo my life's work. But he's Tezcatlipoca and I'm Quetzalcoatl. Who will win? More on that later. Tezcatlipoca, Neptune, Pisces here is doing great. The sun's in trine, especially at the end of your next week. Sets it all off a bit. Venus is there. Here's the Venus-Mars sextile, see? Little dotted blue line. Saturn's trining Uranus and helping out. Uranus helping Trump. Can't believe what he did. Oh, the other thing about June 1st is this is a 50-year anniversary of Sergeant Pepper. And I'm walking around all morose. I go into our local post office and he's playing Sergeant Pepper. God bless him. I finished my mailing. I went out to the car, got in the car, turned on the radio. They're playing Sergeant Pepper. Weird, huh? The worst day for us in lots of ways because of Trump's misguided actions. And yet here's the Beatles come back to us with Sergeant Pepper. Wonderful. Hard to find the music on the internet. Money makers. The other side of this is Pluto and Jupiter and Mars are on a T-square. See the red right triangle? Yeah, squares are obstacles. Oppositions are fights. Mars is going to fight with Pluto. Towards the end of your next week, it'll be exact, because Mars is 12 to 19. And Pluto's at 18. So we're talking about not this coming weekend for you, but the next weekend, they'll be exactly opposed. And there'll be fights. And the police, I wouldn't be a policeman then. Mars is going to attack you guys. Or you're going to attack Mars and wish you hadn't. Jupiter's over here, making it worse. The lawyers, the professors, the wise men, the papered credentials looking the other way. So you got a T-square once a week. You're going to feel that tension and anger. You got wonderful sextiles and trines, almost religious romance. So that's why it's a two-headed coin this coming time for you. Let's go through it day by day. I'm just going to run the moon around the edge, and it goes all the way around in about 30 days. But it goes through your one day in about 12 degrees, and when it does, it makes angles to these other planets. And these give us the mood of the times. So if you're on the Thursday show on the 22nd, the moon's in Gemini, you know, it feels good. There's a lot of mirth around from Jupiter. But Friday morning, here's the opposition to Saturn. You're not going to like authority. The red lights are going to be on. Everybody's delayed. Saturn, the great malefic, the bad guy. Everybody doesn't like him. Shit's happening. Friday morning, the 23rd. Along comes Uranus at noontime after lunch, and there's some Quetzalcoatl, some Uranus, some brotherhood. In la catch, I am another you. Yes, a philosophy of the mind will triumph. We're in the age of Aquarius. Okay, well, there's a flash of it in the middle of Friday, but, Friday, maybe just before lunch. Here's a square to Chiron. We don't feel like helping anybody anyway. Friday, 4 o'clock, here's the new moon. Good time to start again. New moon in Gemini, or in Cancer. It's all about the ocean and fish and Neptune, ocean, liquids. You're going to learn some new things. So make your new starts then. The next couple of days after Friday at 4 o'clock, you'll set a pattern for the whole month. Now the moon's in Cancer, cardinal signs, and that means it's going to set off that T-square. And you can see it here. Look at that. Look at the angles to everything. It's hard to decipher. There's so many aspects. Let's give it a try. Saturday starts here at 2 a.m. So just before lunch, whoa, here's a conjunction to Mars. We're all feeling like we're the soldiers. Get 'em, well, testosterone. I would take it easy Saturday. Tell Mars to take it easy. Mars is the lesser benefic. Saturn's the great benefic. Mars is the lesser benefic. Maybe we should let them fight. Here's soldiers going after the guys in the suits and ties. But this is, there's going to be some road rage kind of stuff going on here. The square to Jupiter, we're overdoing it. That starts it in a way. Pumps it up. Oh, everybody wants too much. Too much. And then, here's the opposition to Pluto. If the police comes, there's going to be a fight. Even if the police don't come, here's territoriality. Here's your reptile mind going into high gear. Flight or fight. And there's going to be a lot of that. And maybe some fires. Fires and fights and Mars. This is all about Mars. Now it lightens up. Here's the sextile to Venus. The girl shows her face about dinner time Saturday, and there's some sweets. And maybe Venus can calm down Mars, get him out of his road rage. Testosterone wave. We'll see. Could wind up with some sexy, loving stuff here Saturday night if you haven't done too much damage through the first part of Saturday. Moon still in Cancer Sunday, right through the middle of the day. And about just before lunch, here's a square to Uranus. We don't like them homeless people and all of those science types. No, no, no. And after that, an hour or two after that, here's a trine to Chiron. But we got to help people. We need to help folks. You know. Moon leaves Cancer and goes into Leo Sunday afternoon. And starts to feel pretty good. Here's the sextile to Jupiter. Monday morning between breakfast and lunch. There's optimism, wisdom. The lawyers and professors say everything is going fine. And it kind of relaxes everybody a little bit as you go through middle of Leo. Monday night late. This is actually Tuesday morning. Here's Saturn. Ugh. Ugh. But he's helping everybody. All the lights are turning green. The politicians say, yeah, go ahead. Here's the North Node. Oh, goody, goody. Now Trump's rising sign is right about here. Now you know why he's feeling like he's everybody. I won't say any more. But there's some enlightenment here. Yeah, with Uranus. Here's the Sun in sextile to Uranus. So, Tuesday, you could have some ideas that are very practical, very settling, if it doesn't get out of hand and turn into the madness of Trump. I'll do what I want. Moon shifts into Virgo in the middle of Tuesday. The vibes all change. As you go into Wednesday, the middle of the day, here's the opposition to Neptune. Ugh. Floods, bad smells, priest, artists, doctors, phonies. A lot of people are, Years ago, I went on a big thing when I discovered that all the psychic stuff was just telepathy. I say just, but because they all think, they're psychics, they're talking to angels, and it's Neptune. Tezcatlipoca wears a mask just like the Lone Ranger. You got to unmask him to find the real Neptune. Anyway, confusion, delusion. Don't drink. Here comes Mars, the hero, though. And in the evening of Wednesday, there's sports, or there's football, or there's the heroes are out and they're loose. And Venus here now is 5, almost 7, 8 degrees away from the sextile. So at first everybody feels randy and sexy, and then Wednesday, as you go into the evening. In the morning of Thursday, early, start to feel sexy, and Venus is accommodating. And this might be your last chance to get some of that romance. Wednesday night, Thursday morning. Closes off before lunch. The moon squares Saturn. Ugh! I got to be on time. There's not enough money. The politicians are killing people. And it isn't helping. The moon opposes Chiron. And the politicians are shutting off all the wounded healers and the helpers in our society. That's what's going on. If you watch what Trump's doing, he goes after the weak and the injured and the old and the homeless and the, and let's just make it worse for them. So there's going to be a lot more of that Thursday, June 29th. Sorry. Just the way it is. Continues pretty much that feeling until the moon changes into Libra, which is late Thursday after dinner. And then you're in the Jupiter phase. As you go forward into Friday night here about 10 o'clock, the moon's going to go by Jupiter. And everybody wants too much. Get over it. That's my space. It's your space. It's my space. I've even labeled it road rage, because you remember that Mars is lined up exactly with Pluto. So here it is. It's Friday night. People get ticked off. They can't do what they want. Then they try to expand anyway. Never mind. I'm amazed at people sometimes. But this is time to, pull back, find a good hiding hole. If you feel extra angry. Hold it down. Ask yourself what you're protecting. And if you're out in the road someplace, look out. Shit is happening. Happen in your neighborhood. Happen in your home. If you're aware of it, makes it a little easier. Don't start that fire. Stay away from hots and sharps, knives and radical solutions and policing. Policing is Pluto is either hot or cold, nothing in between. And by Saturday night, early Sunday morning, there's the moon's opposing Uranus from Libra to Aries, and screw the homeless people. We don't care. We're all having a big fight over here. And it started Friday night and went all through Saturday, and the people who are hurting are the screw science. Saturday night, July 1st. Uh-oh. Sunday the moon shifts into Scorpio. All feels differently. Yes, it's a fixed water sign, and it stabilizes things a lot on Sunday. Monday morning, here's the moon trining the sun and trining Neptune, and there's a spiritual, artistic. Now, you can get the good side of Neptune here. It just happens. But you got to watch the colors and the light and the sounds. You got to ignore the chainsaws from this Mars-Pluto thing. That's what's happening here today. And in between all the chainsaw noise and motor shit and people yelling, it gets quiet. And the little birds tweet. And you look over there and the sun's shining through the flower. And you just got a hit of Neptune on the good side. Yeah. Monday morning. Life on planet Earth. Whoa, what an adventure. What a circus sometimes, huh? Now, a lot of stuff I put on the show is kind of inspired. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do until the morning before I start. Now, this came up this morning, June 1st. I'm looking around Yahoo, and there's this thing that says, here's what the Russians are going to attack if there's a nuclear holocaust and there's a nuclear war, and you think they're going to attack New York or LA. No, what they're going to do is go after the nuke capabilities. And here's these places, see the Air Force bases and all these things. And I thought, oh, they're probably going to go after Pearl Harbor and hit the nuclear submarine base down there. So when you look at this, there's a couple of bases here, and strategic missile complexes are a big thing. And here's a VLF transmitter. And then when I look down here to Hawaii, when I expected Pearl Harbor, no. What's here? Well, it's on Oahu, but it's a VLF transmitter, a Lua-Lua-Lei. And it all came back to me. For a while I lived out in Waianae. Let me show you what's out there in Lua-Lua-Lei. Okay, this is all about the health department, which is a Neptune thing. And I worked for them for a while on Kauai, and I discovered a lot of stuff about that agency. It's quite corrupted by Neptune stuff. So this has to do with, I figured those big antennas where I lived in Waianae Valley had something to do with all of this. So I Googled this up, and because I didn't recognize Lua-Lua-Lei, but there it is. There's Lua-Lua-Lei Homestead Road. Now let's go to the satellite thing. And what is all this stuff? Well, when you go in closer on it, this is the VLF means very low frequency. This is called a Hertz loop here. There's one. What is that? When you're in Waianae, it's hard to miss this. Yeah, this was taken about noon. See the little shadows? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. These are really big antennas. And here's more. See? And here's strange lines all over. And when you're there, all you see is these big, huge antennas. Look at the size of these things. These are really tall. What are they doing there? Well, when I was there, I had just a small curiosity. Nobody knew much who lived there. There's another big array, see? They're in fives. So what they are is big antennas. What they're doing is VHS, means very low frequency. And I finally learned that they do this to communicate with submarines. And very low frequency is a broadcast. I mean, OSHA doesn't know anything about this kind of pollution. So what happened was, later on, I'm over on Kauai, and I'm working for the health department. And a German lady showed up who was actually from Germany, studying environmental health and on some kind of an exchange program with the Department of Health. And she had been in Honolulu for a while working there, and was a young gal. And then for some reason they sent her over to Kauai, and I got to spend a couple days with her. And she said she was really angry because what she said happened was that there was a study done because somebody noticed a lot of Down syndrome children being born in this area along Waianae, and they did a study, and she said, bang, there was a lot of this going on here. It looked like these very low frequency antennas maybe were causing Down syndrome children to be born. So the study, now this lady was technical, a scientist like me, and they looked at the data at the health department. And what happens is you take data and you draw a normal curve, a normal distribution curve, the bell-shaped distribution like that. And what they did is they decided there was an awful lot of these things, yeah, but it was so far away from the normal stuff that it was up here at the very end of this curve in the 1 or 2%, which meant it was kind of unlikely to happen. And they dismissed it. They buried the study. The German lady said they were corrupt over there. And I'm sure she went back to Germany and told them about the liars and cheats at the health department in Honolulu. Oh boy, there's Neptune at work. Okay, another classic health department scam. While I was there, I would go sample these 6 sites around the island for E. coli with salt water, so they should have been sampling the half fresh, half salt water where kids are. But suddenly they came back and they said, we need you to triple. You got to triple your sample sites. And I said, well, maybe they're going to do something. So I started going around and doing it. And then they called me back the next day. We want to know where they are. Put the names down. I said, well, give me, then the next day, I want the names. And they were in a big rush. They said, finally, we don't care where they are. Just write down all the piers where the boats are or something. Okay. A week later, out came a TV commercial. And there was a governor, the guy who had the face tick, walking along the beach with his wife, saying, and we have tripled our clean water system to make sure your water is clean. So the health department put me through the jumps for 2-3 days to help the governor and with his lie. Here's another one, VOG. I was there. The feds are going to take away the Clean Air Branch money. They said, you got to find some air pollution or else. So they got up this thing about VOG. VOG is only ammonium sulfate. It doesn't hurt you. It actually helps asthma. The whole thing is Tezcatlipoca, a guy with a mask, giving you bull information. Like, the doctor says, oh, this drug is great. Listen, there's three examples. The governor's clean water, the VOG thing, totally a scam, and a very low frequency. Scam. Here's a department says, we're going to keep you healthy. They're actually going the other way. Well, the Defense Department says, we're going to keep you safe, and they go out and start all the wars. Ha ha ha. Got to watch these guys, Neptune at work. Astrologers haven't figured this out. Look, here's Mars and Venus, little tiny guys. Here's Jupiter and Saturn, big honking mothers. Here's Uranus and Neptune, clearly a pair. These are a pair, these are a pair, these are a pair. Three pairs. The ancients had it down, you know. Yes, they're pair, malefic and benefic. A good guy and a bad guy. Mars is malefic, the little benefic. Venus, the great little benefic. Here's Saturn, the great malefic. And here's Jupiter, the great benefic. Here's Neptune, the malefic. And here's Uranus, a benefic. And this is clear to me now, even though I've got 30 years of studying it, you know, that Neptune is the pesticides and Monsanto and a lot of stuff. I didn't really get it clear until I came to Tezcatlipoca, smoking mirror, and it all came to me. Wow. Here's the only other astrologer, Bruce Schofield, my hero, that explored Mesoamerican astrology just recently. What did he have to say about Quetzalcoatl and Tezcatlipoca? Well, Quetzalcoatl was quite a hero. He brought civilization, order over chaos. He was a mystic. He stopped all sacrifice, you know, wow, except for snakes and butterflies. Over time, he became so into his religion, he sequestered himself. And meanwhile, his sorcerer enemies, Bruce got this from Toltec myth, sorcerers, including the dark god Tezcatlipoca, who later became one of the primary gods of the Aztecs, plotted to bring him down. Yes, Tezcatlipoca got by the temple guards and gave him a mirror and said how ugly he was. Another of the sorcerers offered to dress him up in his best feathers and then introduced him to Poke and got him all drunked up. He broke his vow of chastity and sex with his sister. In his shame, he left, and Tezcatlipoca was victorious. At that time, Neptune was victorious over Uranus. 2,000 years in Neptune. We're coming out of it. Age of Aquarius is Uranus. We got 2,000 years of the age of Pisces. Sticky liquid spills to get loose of. Don't worry, Quetzalcoatl comes back.